Hi, André.
Hello.
We're doing Zoom hopping, if you wonder.
Okay.
So we have to Zoom and we just pop up at the last moment.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So let's wait until everybody's done the hopping thing. I think we are pretty much there. So thank you very much, André, for accepting to give this talk about AI. And so André works at Nikon Europe, I think, or?
Yes.
I'm not wrong. And is going to present, so it's the solution that it's an introduction about AI. So and of course touching a little bit upon the type of tools that that Nikon has for that. So currently we're seeing your presenter view.
What's the best way to do it?
I think if you stop sharing and you share again and you choose the correct window, that's usually okay. Now it works.
Yeah, let me just do a reading view. I think that's probably better.
Okay.
Okay. And yeah, let's see about the videos. Because let's see how PowerPoint. I had a few crashes of PowerPoint when I was playing the videos, but I have them as separate MP4 files as well.
In Canvas, right?
Sorry?
In Canvas, you have them. Or did we upload them to Canvas?
I also have them on my PC, so if something I
Okay.
can.
Okay, great. Great. Thank you.
Okay, so hello everyone, and yes, I work for Nikon, and I will be talking about our AI tools for both image acquisition and image analysis. And of course, there are 100 different ways how you can make introduction to the AI during an AI talk. I personally decided that I would like to talk a very general first, and then go through the AI basics, the concepts of AI, which I think it's useful to know when you use any AI tool, not just ours. So if we talk about AI in general, there is a lot of hype around, as you I'm absolutely sure you know. And I would like to use a kind of a mental trick when we talk about some transformative technology. If we take the car 100 years ago and you go back in time and someone is asking you, okay, will it change the world? The answer would be yes. So no one really can ignore it. It will touch the life of billions of people. So there is this huge potential. However, of course, there are limits because it's not magic. And for example, flies, they cannot fly even now, 100 years later. So there are definitely limits. And we can give some practical advice. Just learn how to drive and understand how a car works, so you can benefit from all changes around you and not be cut up in the middle of unwanted changes. So it's good to understand what is a gas, what is a brake, what is gasoline or diesel, and how to read a speed dial. If we talk about AI, there are as well many concepts like this. Don't worry, you don't need to read through of this list now, but during my talk, I will be reference these terms like learning iteration, epoch, deep learning, or training loss, and then we will revisit at the end of the talk as well. So when you will see this just blue font appearing, it's when I will be referring to one of the basic AI concepts, which it's useful to know when you operate any AI software. So now I want to dive really deep and very simple and build a very simple AI model with you. So let's say we would like to have a decision system which helps us to decide whether we want to go to the cinema this Friday or not. And we have three inputs, whether we have a free ticket, whether it's an action movie, or whether it's a 3D movie. And let's say all criteria are the same, are equal, so we have a weight of 1 to each one of them. And now we have a situation when, okay, next Friday, there is a movie, but it's like a comedy, we need to pay for it, but it's in 3D. And then we can use what's called an activation function, where we just use this formula, which just simply states, okay, just let's multiply our input on our weight, sum up everything, and then use some offset or threshold. So we 0 plus 0 plus 1 and minus 1 equals 0, so that our decision is no, do not go to the cinema. But then, yes, we also can introduce two first concepts of AI here is an input layer and output layer. So all parameters that we take as an input are on the left, layer on the left, and our decision is an output layer. This is the most basic concept of any AI, that you have some kind of input and some kind of output always. Now, let's say we made this decision. However, we really missed out. Apparently, it's a new 3D cinema in town. It's absolutely amazing. Our friends went there and we missed out. We're unhappy. So what happened here, we can say, is that now we have a training data set. We should have went. So our decision system should given us answer yes. So our input should have calculated as yes. And now we have a labeled training data set, and our labeled correct output is a ground truth. So when we have correct input and output, the output that we want to get is a ground truth. And also we can say that this is a supervised learning, because we tell the system what it should be doing. And what we can do learning. We can change the weights or importance of our input. We can put a very high value to our 3D movie. So put the weight of 2. And now when we calculate with the same activation function, we get the number of 1. And we've done one iteration of learning, or learning epoch 1. And we can transition to even more variables. And if you can confused how sunny is related, whether we should take a Friday off, it means that our deep network also will be confused, meaning it's difficult to calculate, but we can introduce a hidden layer. So we already have seen how go to the cinema can be calculated. We also can calculate whether we want to play football. And then the output of this hidden layer can go to our output layer, whether to take full Friday off or not. And hidden layer just means not input and not output. And another situation which can happen, it can be unsupervised learning, where we can have a very small amount of events with some particular input. For example, with this free ticket, action movie and 3D movie and sunny weather, our network itself can cluster it to some event. And for example, it can be open air cinema. So that's unsupervised learning, where we ourselves do not provide the output that we want to get. So we already introduced quite a few AI fundamentals. And if we want to put it a bit a notch, we can use TensorFlow background. So TensorFlow is a very popular AI library, which can be used in Python and other languages. It has what's called a TensorFlow background. You can Google it and very easily find online where you have this interface. So a few things that we can see here, that it introduces us to this notion of training and validation data split. So we have a training data and we have a validation data, which neural network haven't seen, and we use it for our test or validation. We will have a training loss, and also we can see amount of iterations or epochs that we used during our training. So let's jump in the training, and I recorded a small screencast for it. So what we see here, the different data sets that we can play with, ratio of training to data set, And also when we click here, we can show or hide our data set. And we start with very simple data set, just to clouds of negative and positive points. And let's start with 0 hidden layers, so only 2 neurons as an input. And one neuron is just a vertical coordinate, and another one is just horizontal coordinate. And we can try to launch our training now. So we just do step by step. So you can see our training loss is very small array already, and we found our function which divides the region to very easily predict whether the point will be positive or negative. And here it's also an interesting point is that we used machine learning here. However, from the high school statistics, you know that we could have done just a very simple linear fit. It would give the same result. So it's another thing. Sometimes the problem is very simple actually, and people still use machine learning because it's just trendy now. And we solved our problem now. However, now, oops, sorry. Now we can go to another data set. And this one we cannot use just with the linear fit. We can launch our training, and we can see that our training loss is stuck at 0.4, which is quite high, and it's not going down. It means that we are stuck. We cannot solve this problem with this network. So we need to add one hidden layer, and let's just use 2 neurons and see what's happening. We got a new shape, which we didn't have before, a band. And we can see how we got it from a combination of our 2 linear inputs. So now this is a new shape. And with 3 neurons, now we can solve this problem.
Sorry, the problem that you wanted to solve there is to try to sort of cluster the center versus the dots that were on the ring.
Exactly. We need to get the shape to cover the blue points and the orange region to cover the orange points. And we can solve it with 1 hidden layer and 3 neurons. We also can try to solve this problem. So here the point that I want to show is that the more sophisticated problem we have, the more sophisticated our architecture should be. So here we need 4 neurons. And at some point, we will go now to the most complex data set, the spirals. We really need to have multiple hidden layers, but the problem, we will then start losing our understanding what our neural network is doing. So like for the moment, it's relatively simple to understand what we were doing, but now we will try to do the spirals. Now you can see that I needed to do 4 hidden layers with multiple neurons. And you can see that it takes some time. We see that, okay, our training loss is going down, and we can see that we start to converge on shape, which does recognize our spiral. But yeah, it takes quite a bit of time. Almost, it will be almost 1,000 iterations. And the important point, now when we hover of individual neurons, we can see that these shapes are quite weird. like it's very difficult to understand how it then will relate to our output shape. So this is a very good demonstration why people talk about AI as a black box. When we solve a complex problem, at some point we start to lose understanding what's actually happening inside. And that's quite often the case in image processing. So now, when we cover these fundamentals of AI, we can take a look on what we can do inside NIS-Elements tools. So we have use of AI in the full workflow of image acquiring, image improving, and extracting the data. You can see we have a lot of different tools. I don't have enough time to go in details through each one of them. But I will show you one example how to use enhanced AI, and then quickly show what you can expect while using other tools. The main point here is that in yellow, you can see the AI tools which are pre-trained, so you can just use them directly, and in green, tools that the user can fine-tune for their dataset. So we can start with the acquisition and AI. We just recently launched an automated box microscope GI, which uses AI in multiple points of its use case, from detecting the well plate to finding autofocus and detecting and finding cells in bright field. So here is for an example that we can just press a button and it will find autofocus of our cells in bright field. And then we can directly launch another AI network to count our cells in bright field. So then that's what's important with autofocus, that we can use it afterwards for the analysis. Also, we have an AI network which helps to find the excitation LED parameters and also exposure time of the camera, which is called AutoSignal. Once we acquire our image, we can improve it and we can analyze it. So here is just an example how we can use enhanced AI. So we start with our training dataset with high quality image and low quality image. So our input or source is low signal image, and we want to get a high signal image out of it. So we just go to NIS AI and train enhanced AI. And we specify our low signal as a source AI channel or input, and our ground truth as an output high quality channel. And we choose the name of the file which will be result of the network. So we press train. And now I will just forward it. We will have a window which will show a training loss and also an estimated time of the training. So here you can see that it was our first data point, and now it will go down with a few hours, we will get our network. So just skip forward to the use. So let's say after a few hours, we have our network file ready, and we can open a test dataset, so validation dataset, with real high quality signal and low quality signal. And we just need to go to NIS AI, go to Enhance AI now, specify what is our input, our low quality channel, and then specify which network file we want to use, and the name of the generated new channel. And we can press OK. It will take a second to initialize, and then it takes maybe half a second per each frame. And now we can see a new channel generated by the AI network. So I just changed the color so we can compare it with a real live high signal channel. And this is generated by AI. So we went from this channel, low signal to noise, to this channel, high signal to noise. And you can see that we've done everything under 4 minutes. So it's really easy to use AI tools in Nikon software. Now, quickly, just an example what each tool can do. So the noise AI removes short noise. So it's very effective denoising tool. Our tool Clarify AI removes autofocus blur. So kind of gives you a confocal image without having a confocal. Then we have a new network cells localization, which can give you a center of a cell in bright field, and also you can use it to count cells. Enhance AI, I just showed you the full workflow, but again, the main idea that you give it a low signal to noise image, and it gives you high signal to noise image. For example, you can acquire your images with very short exposure time to reduce bleaching, and then you can enhance your images for the analysis afterwards. Convert AI takes one channel image and can generate a second channel out of it. For example, here we have a GFP and we generated a DAPI nuclear channel. And of course, Segment AI, it's labeled segmentation, where first we use manual annotation of our objects that we want to detect, and then we can use it automatically to detect objects on many images very quickly. Also, we have two networks. One is for detecting pixel by pixel objects, and another one is more trained to detect round objects, so to separate them in between. And depending on the situation, you can use one or another. We also now can do partial segmentation. Here's the example of work which was done by our colleague Monica from the Nikon Bioimaging Lab, where you can see a tissue with a tumor, and then some only parts of the tissue have been annotated. You can see in the middle the highlighted regions, and then training have been done, and on the right you can see the result of the tumor detection. And another example is the segmentation of the neurons, which have been done for the neurons acquired by our point scanner AX with a super resolution model and Spark. So to summarize, we have seen very quickly the result that is an output of each of these AI network. And again, you see that we have a lot of networks now covering every step of image acquisition, image improvement with the noise clarify and restore, and extracting data with cell localization, enhancing image, generating another channel, and of course, using segmentation with AI modules. And the big power of these modules are that they are fully integrated in our image analysis module, General Analysis 3, which is in turn fully integrated in our jobs module for image acquisition. So the full workflow can be fully automated for, again, image acquisition, image analysis, and doing feedback microscopy. So making decisions depending on what our AI network have been generated. So now I was aiming for 25 minutes, so we have some time for questions.
Thank you very much, Andrei. It was impressive. So I would like to know if there are questions. Has anyone tried to use an AI tool before? Yes, Anne-Marie, you have tried?
Yeah, and I have tried Arvis and Imaris and so on, but not with the Nikon. I mean, I'm really not so well with Nikon instruments and jobs or anything else, but
Does Imaris and Arvis, do they have AI as well? Tools?
yeah, Arvis has this sort of a cloud-based,
Right.
virtual hub, and it's now with the size, as you probably know, they like merged together, and Andor and Imaris have been like together, I don't know how long. So, and they have also developed tools to, do sort of patch analysis with 3D and 2D and so on.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the same thing as AI though.
Well, not entirely, but they are like going towards, so they have machine learning. So basically it's supervised workflow,
Right.
But yeah, you take advantage of these tools.
I can see several projects that we have in this amongst the students who could benefit from what was presented, in particular Emma maybe with live cell imaging, and where it's challenging to find the imaging conditions that do not create too much noise, and that could be something interesting to try.
My point that I hope I got across is that you have seen how easy it's to start using, like I've shown how to do it under 4 minutes. And then we have many of them for many different situations. And again, it's fully integrated with our general analysis 3 module and jobs.
So of course, in the students at our course are not users of our facility for most of them. So they can use all sorts of different types of microscope. But I think that this was really a very nice presentation where you even managed to explain the complex idea of neuronal network. So what is the difference between when one says deep learning and neuronal network? Is the deep learning the black box or?
Yeah, that's why I like TensorFlow. So I really advise people to play with it, because I think it's very easy to get bundled in the like what people called what. In my opinion, it's all about complexity of the system. Like machine learning is for simple things and deep learning are for complex things. And because yeah, as you have seen, you can try to use deep learning for simple linear fit. You can. However, it's like what it allows you to do. And segmentation, for example, or clarify AI, it's a very powerful output that you get. It's valuable for you, right? How you call the system that deliver it, it's secondary question. The most important is that it gives you value.
Yes. Are there any more questions?
So this Nikon AI is only installed on the Nikon microscope?
So you need to use NIS-Elements software. You can use NIS-Elements without Nikon microscope. I have seen situations where people were taking images on some other even manual systems and then using Nikon AI to do the segmentation of these images. You can use a TIFF image if you would like as an input and still use our segmentation or enhance something like this on it.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Well, Andre, thank you very much. And if we have no more questions, we will continue. So thanks a lot for your input.